Good day, everyone. Welcome to a small update of the markets. It's Sunday, which means that I'll be providing like a 5 to 8 minute update of Bitcoin at this point. It's Sunday, which means weekend times. Before I continue to discuss the markets, I'd like to share two things that are very important to me. One is that we still have the discount on the website and the memberships, which is until tomorrow evening. Until December 1st, we're having this discount. So if you want to become a member, this is the period that you should become one. Secondly, on awards.computable.nl/stem, it's also in the description below. There's a Dutch Blockchain Award, and I'm nominated in the Impactful Person Award. You can still vote for it, so if you want to do that for me, that would be amazing to win this one. So I hope I'm going to win it, but I need your votes for it. Then the market in general, and I've got a clean chart here, as generally that's the best way to approach a chart. What we do see is a few things that should be relatively important. One is that we've stated, okay, if we've lost 18.5, we are going towards the 16k zone, and the 16k zone is reached, which granted support as it's a higher time frame support level. In that perspective, the next chapter of that bounce is most likely towards 18k, and as you can see on the right, the 18k area is reached. Does that mean that we are immediately bullish at this point? No. To me, we are constructing a range for the coming few weeks, through which the range high should be defined relatively soon. Given that we've got this movement in the weekends or during the weekend times, makes me a little bit cautious. That's general because this bounce up is with significant less volume than any of the previous movements, through which you should be a little bit more cautious on this momentum here. Is it nice that we're going back to 18k? Yes, but there are a few critical levels that you should be watching and which can actually cause a renewed chain reaction like we've seen here. So going back towards the higher time frame chart, doesn't really matter which one we take. The higher time frame chart, we can see that 16k is holding. There's a few different outcomes in the coming period on this. One is that we get a construction like this, in which we just going to range and then make the drop down before we continue. So then the final correction comes later on. And in general, what I stated as well is that if we get a bounce and a relief rally like we do see here, it takes a few weeks before we get the final correction. This is an outcome which is all hanging on the support around 16k. As long as 16k holds, we don't get another drop down. But if we drop south, 14k around this previous high is the area to watch. I think that once we get towards 14k, the majority will be eyeing 12k, and I do not believe we will be hitting 12k. That would be a very harsh correction. I think 14k is also the 382 Fibonacci level and the previous high, which formally just gives the support resistance flip. Second scenario is that we get the chopperino like we had after the halving. And in this case, you see that we've had a test of the previous OB like we do see here. And after that, we just see the price going sideways, granting support. In that perspective and in that light, we most likely get a rejection at the range that we have discussed between 18 and 18.6, after which we drop south. That's this part. If we sustain support at 17.1 and come back up again, then you might be arguing that we won't be getting any further corrections. So it's all depending on how harsh we reject in this range and how we're going to react around the support at 17k, which is also the weekly close on the CME futures. So there's still different outcomes to the markets at this point, as we've just witnessed a very harsh correction. And that's also what you see on social media with all the different scenarios and the different strategies. Is Bitcoin currently an entry after a bounce of like 15% from 16k to 18.2? No, especially not when it is in the weekend times. Bitcoin is an entry when it gets to higher time frame support levels. If I would have had a day trade on Bitcoin here, and we have started one or we have stated this area around 60k in the group as a potential interesting zone. Similarly with XRP, it's 46 cents. I would be taking profits here just to be sure and locking profits, as we've just witnessed a harsh correction. And frequently those bounces are not going to be an impulse bounce, as an impulse bounce gives higher volume, accelerations and stuff. This bounce has less volume. So coming towards the critical levels that should be warranting support, we get towards a very clean chart. As you can see, the breaker that we've lost is the 18.6 zone. So that's the final hurdle to take. If that is broken, then we're going to see continuation towards the new all-time high, right? Then we've got this area here, which is broken down. And this was the rejection zone in the harsh drop down at around 18k. We couldn't break through it, which meant that we were going down further towards 16k. Then we've also have this overall general construction here, which is currently the resistance zone, which marked support during the upwards run. So there's a few levels that you should be watching, but the more important part is that if we would love to see continuation on the bullish side, 79 has to sustain support. So if we make a correction here and this is going to be broken south, it's very likely that we drop to 74 and immediately start to accelerate south again, causing a chain reaction. 17k, so this area is the CME gap. If we do lose this, we might be arguing that this run up is here done, and we're going to test the lows in this range around 16k again. And then the question comes whether we're going to bounce strongly from 16k or whether we're going to not even hit 16k. That's all questions to define how harsh this rejection will be and how heavy this correction will be in the coming period. So this is the downwards level to watch on Bitcoin at this point. The upper level to watch is first this range around 18.2 to 18.4, but mainly this range around 18.6 to 18.8. If we do break 18.6, 18.8, of course we're going to take the liquidity above the recent high and we're going to run towards the new all-time high. So these are the ranges that you should be watching, and Bitcoin is currently in that critical range. So I would not be going too heavy on trades, and if Bitcoin is going to correct, altcoins will most likely not move with Bitcoin. So I hope this small update on the markets helps you out, and tomorrow I'll be back hopefully with a market update in the morning if there is volatility, and of course the live stream at 8 p.m. GMT +1.